Now, this may be very hard for many of you to digest, but it's real. It's truthful. You're not going to be able to reach everybody. You're not going to be able to help everybody. And for those of you out there who believe that you're here to save people, to save the world, you need to know that you're not going to save everybody. I know for a lot of people, this will be hard to digest. But again, people, it's real. It's true. You're not going to reach everybody. You're not going to help everybody. And there is good reason for this, understanding this. You can only help people who desire to help themselves or to be helped. You can only reach people who are open to be reached. That's all you can do. Even for those of you who play the role of the Savior, you can only help save those who are open and receptive to being saved. And that's only for the people that this is applicable to. I myself used to be one of those saviors, individuals who thought they were here to save the world and to save everybody. I used to be one of those individuals. And mostly people who are like that are just big-hearted people. They live from the heart. Their heart is big. And they really just want to see the best for people. They want to help improve the human condition. But their folly is that the things that people go through in life, especially the hard trials and tribulations, the hard life lessons, imprisonment, poverty, abuse, all types of abuse, discrimination, racism, just all of that stuff that takes place on this planet, prison planet, whatever you want to call it. All of these things that take place, they do serve a valuable lesson, especially pertaining to the higher realms of existence, the spiritual existence. They play a role. But a lot of people who are quote unquote saviors or aspiring saviors, they don't really understand all there is to universal and divine law. They don't understand everything. They mean well, but they don't understand everything. And in many cases, they end up doing harm to people and especially to themselves. Because you have to understand that we're regulated by various laws, including the law of cause and effect. And a lot of people have done things. These people have causes, particular or specific causes that lead to particular or specific effects or results. And the unconscious Savior looks at the effect and looks at the suffering, the hardship, the trial, the woes. The unconscious Savior looks at that and says, that person needs saving from this effect. But what happens is, when you get in the way of the effect or an effect, you're violating law. These people are experiencing the result of certain actions known as causes. And it's a law, cause and effect. So if the effect is one of the fire being lit to someone's backside, if the result is the fire being lit to the backside of an individual, trust me, it is the result of certain individuals thinking, but more importantly, doing certain things that lead to being burned. It's the law of cause and effect. And all of us here are subject to that particular law, just like we're subject to all of the governing higher laws. Universal law, divine law, spiritual law, whatever you want to call these laws, we're all subject to them. And like they say in man's law, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So even pertaining to divine law, ignorance of that law is no excuse. Well, Djehuty, I didn't know. And the law is the law. That's why you have a brain. You have a mind, and you're supposed to use it to learn about your environment, immediate and extended environment. Just like you learned everything else that you've learned, you also have a responsibility to learn about these laws. You have a responsibility to learn about any and everything pertaining to you as an individual, and more importantly, as a human being, a native of this planet. That's your duty, and there's no excuse, none whatsoever. Because see, if you desire a thing and put that out there into the universe, you will get it. So you can't say that I didn't have this, and I didn't know the right people, I didn't go to college. You can't do any of that. You can't use any of that as an excuse. Because the universe does not know limitation. It doesn't. All the universe knows is deliver, predicated upon what was emitted or sent out. That's all it knows. It's a law. It's fixed. The word law comes from a word root meaning to lie in a fixed state. It's fixed. Real law is fixed. It does not change. So when you deal with man-made law, the statute, statutory law, is not real law because it changes. Some laws are repealed. They create a law, and then a few years later, they repeal it. It's not law. It doesn't lie in a fixed state. So it was lawful 10 years ago, and today it's unlawful. And vice versa. Vice versa. So it's not real law. Because real law is fixed. It doesn't change. So when these unconscious saviors attempt to change effects, they don't have a clue in most cases that they're getting in the way of a law. They attempt to block people from the effect. But that effect is very important. It's the outgrowth. It's the result of a particular action. And you can never help people, truly help people, as far as the result of the effect, until and or unless you help these people to understand the cause. Because it is the cause that leads to the effect. So if you want to help people to change the effect, you have to help people change the cause. It's the only way you can help people. Now, switching things up to talk more about disease, to talk more about health, the area that I specialize in. You're not going to be able to help everybody that you desire to help. You're just not. Man, Djehuty, we didn't know, man, that, the word not and can't. We didn't know that existed in your vocabulary. Well, listen, everything has to be placed in its proper context. There are certain situations where the word don't, can't, unable just does not come into play in my vocabulary. And usually that pertains to things about myself. Now, dealing with people outside of myself, that's when and where terms like can't, won't, unable come into play. Because see, everybody's not going to do what I've done, what you may have done. Everybody's not going to do it. See, we all have different degrees or gauss of willpower. So everybody's not going to be able to do a particular thing. It's like the police academy. Everybody going out for being a cop, a law enforcement officer, they're not gonna make the grade. They're not gonna pass. Same thing with the military. Everybody trying out for the military, they're not gonna make it. Only the strong, the committed, the dedicated, those with powerful resolve and will, they make it. They make it because they have it. They have those things, those attributes, those qualities. They have it, so they make it. And the people that don't make it, it's not so much that they don't have these particular qualities or attributes. It's just that they are dormant. They are uncultivated. And because they have not cultivated these attributes or quality, they don't make the grade. Now they can if they change. See, the great thing about human beings is that we can change, especially through the power of the mind. I mean, you know, when you live from the heart, man, you desire to help everybody. You want to see that. You know, the same thing that you may be experiencing or enjoying, you want for other people. And I understand that. But you can't get in the way of law. That's why there's so much confusion on the planet. One of the questions I get all the time is, or most of the time, is why do bad things happen to good people? And it's because good people are ignorant. That's it. They're good, but they're ignorant. Certain things they just don't understand. And ignorance of the law is just, it's no excuse. That's why. These people look good, Djehuty, but they died of cancer. They died of some other disease. Why? Why did God let that happen? God ain't got nothing to do with it. When you deal with God, you're dealing with law. Ain't nothing changed. The only thing that has changed is people. There are laws out there that if you follow those laws, you're going to get a particular or specific effect or result. And that's real. That's very truthful. Now, also, when you live against that law, you're going to get a particular or specific effect or result. Whether you go by the law or don't go by the law, there is a result. There is a consequence. We're talking law of consequence. So if we deduce things down to good and bad, well, a good action will lead to a good result. A bad action will lead to a bad result. That's the law. You cannot do good and get bad or do bad and get good. Cannot do that. That would violate the law. Same thing with success. There's a law of success. There's also a law of failure. So if you do everything that you're supposed to do for purposes of success, then that's the outcome or the consequence you get. You studied, you were dedicated, you were committed, you cultivated your mind. You had certain actions that were in tune or that harmonized with universal law. You did what was necessary. You paid the price. You paid the cost to be the boss. So bam, you get the consequence of your actions as well as your thoughts. It all works together. And then you have all the people in society who are failures, so-called failures, pursuant to a law. They didn't do certain things that were required for success. They started something but didn't finish. They didn't work on developing, cultivating willpower. There was no sense of loyalty, dedication, commitment to a particular thing. So they got a result that spoke to the things that they did not do. Period. But Djehuty, it's my mother, and I don't want her to die. I don't want her to succumb to cancer. I totally understand that. However, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Your mother did things that were contrary to the law of nature. Now, even though I've heard people refer to a law of disease, in all due honesty, there is no law of disease. There's no law of disease. Disease is the result of acting contrary to the way or the Tao. There's a certain way that if you swim in accord with the way, you have ease of life. Now, when you go against the Tao or the way, you have or experience what is called dis-ease. Not ease or no ease. It's bumpy. And that's what we refer to as disease. So when my parents were diagnosed with cancer, my father had various cancers. A very severe case of cancer. It was so severe. The cancer was so severe that it attacked his spinal cord and he became paralyzed. That was a very horrible, severe case of cancer that resulted in brain tumors, lung cancer, liver cancer. I mean, it just attacked the man's whole body. It was a horrible experience to look at my father suffer for the 6 months he suffered. And then he compounded the situation, the cancerous situation, by going to Western allopathic doctors who gave him chemotherapy and radiation. And that just compounded or exacerbated the situation or the condition. And with my mother, it was pancreatic cancer. Another monster of a cancer. Some of you are probably saying, well, Djehuty, I think all cancers are monsters. No, there are various cancers that are no joke, that are more challenging to overcome. You know, you have your blood cancers, then you have the cancers, of the organs or the specific organs. As for example, when you have pancreatic cancer, you got to understand how the pancreas is located in the body is very difficult to get to. It's not like lung cancer or liver cancer, colon cancer. Organs that are located in the body, and it's easy to get to them. The pancreas, a fish-shaped organ, is very difficult to get to. So pancreatic cancer is one of the worst cancers. It's more of a monster than other types of cancer. And if anybody out there has dealt with a loved one, a relative, a friend, etc., that had a pancreatic cancer, you know what I'm talking about. It's no joke. Pancreatic cancer is no joke. And that was the form of cancer my mother was diagnosed with. And like my father, she turned to Western allopathic doctors, and they put her on chemotherapy and radiation, and it whipped her behind. It was so bad, I made up my mind I wouldn't go see her in the hospital like I did my father. I just did not want to relive that. You don't want to see people you love suffer to that degree. You ask yourself a lot of questions. What did this person do to deserve this? But when you're into universal law, spiritual law, natural law, you understand. No matter how extreme the suffering, you understand. This person did something. They may have been ignorant to what they did that resulted in the particular pathology, but they did something. And because with my mother, I was more conscious, especially in health, than I was with my father 4.5, 5 years prior, I could look at things and say, wow, all the years my mother smoked played a role in her pathology. All the years she drank, and there were plenty of times she drank heavily, talking about alcohol consumption. I remember it. I saw it and I remember it. And it's like, man, It caught up with her. All the years of smoking, we would argue over her smoking. It caught up with her. The poor diet, it caught up. All the negative things, it caught up with her. The negative emotion, the bitterness, the regret, it caught up with her. Because there's always a metaphysics behind disease. And my mother had a lot of bitterness and a lot of regret. And I learned from my mother to always take those chances. Because I saw a person who took some chances but didn't do it enough. So she created bitterness and regret. Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? So that's why today I live it up. I do everything I desire to do. Because that creates good health. It helps to maintain good health. Being happy. Vitamin H, happiness. Vitamin happy or vitamin happiness. See, when you feel good, and you're happy, you're elated, you're jovial, your body responds to those particular emotions. And there's a chemical reaction. And the chemical reaction is tantamount to taking herbs or elixirs or panaceas, what have you. They actually help the body. The body works more efficiently. The body works more efficiently. It functions better. When you feel good, the body responds to that. The heart responds to that. The liver responds to that. The brain responds to that. It's very important to feel good. And I'm talking about an organic sense of feeling good, not the synthetic one from smoking dope or injecting or consuming dope. That's synthetic. That's linear. That's temporary. It's not the same as a natural high. I have a natural high every single day of my life. Every single day. It emanates from here. Just thinking about my life. Knowing that I can solve any and every problem that could come my way. But more importantly, to have the knowledge to prevent certain things from ever occurring or coming my way. That's what makes me feel good. Prevention is better than remedy. To know that I made a choice to cultivate my mind, which is your magnet, your genie bottle, your magic wand. To just know that I cultivated that and received the life that I always desired. To be living life on my own terms, to be free to do me anytime I want to do me. That makes me feel good. I like to feel good. And I'm quite sure it has something to do with, being a solar sign Taurus. But I like to feel good. Now, I like problems, but I like skillful problems. I like drama, but skillful drama. I don't like the unskillful, preventable, unnecessary types of drama and stress and things like that. But the opposite side of it, I like. Because it's beneficial. We all got choice, man. We all got choice. And my parents made certain choices that led to a particular cause or result. There was this one lady years ago, I think I was functioning under a FIA Herbaceuticals. I think it was a FIA. It may have been in the early stages of DHERS, but I truly think it was with the FIA Herbaceuticals. And this woman who was a good friend of mine called me, and she was very disturbed because her mother was diagnosed with cancer. And I don't recall the type of cancer. It may have been lung cancer, lung or liver cancer. And she was so distressed. And her energy was, I want to save my mother, Djehuty. We have to save my mother. And because I got that big heart, you know, that moon in Sagittarius, that big heart, I'm down. Hey, we're gonna do whatever it is we need to do to save your mother. But then she told me something that changed my attitude. She told me that her mother smoked for 40 years. And when she told me that, it just changed my whole attitude. Because I know about higher law. I know about the law of cause and effect, or the law of consequence. And so after she told me that, I was like, this is the result of all of those years of that unnatural practice called smoking, which is very foolish, very unwise, because smoking offers your body nothing of benefit. No nutrition, no vitamins, no minerals, no trace elements, no enzymes, no essential fatty acids, no nothing. Pure pollution of the body, the bloodstream, the organs, the lymph or lymphatic fluid. Pure pollution, pure toxicity. So why would you do that? 40 years. And even though the person was diagnosed with cancer, the person still made a choice, a foolish choice, to smoke, feeding the cancer. And so my attitude changed when I heard that. I said, oh, this is the law of cause and effect here. That's what we're dealing with. The woman did an unwise thing for 40 years, and now here's the result. Here's the manifestation of the errant way, the errant activity. Here's the manifestation of it's called cancer. She brought this on herself. So all of that, oh, the poor lady, it's so sad. Oh my goodness, we got to do something to help this woman. All of that changed. That changed. This is the result of your unwise action or actions, but mainly dealing with smoking, the action of smoking. This is the consequence. This is the price you pay for whatever it was that you experienced while smoking. Now, anytime the price you got to pay for any type of activity here on planet Earth is death, that's something that should really make you think. If I do this, the consequence can be death. That should make you think. See, I don't bungee cord jump because the worst case scenario is death. And that's how I think. I'll do a lot of things, but if my mind says, Djehuty, if something goes wrong, you will die. And I said, you know what? I don't need to do that. Plus, I'm the type of person, I get more out of the mental than the physical. So if I do something in my mind, my body, it responds as if I was doing the actual thing. So I don't have to risk my life for a thrill, which a lot of people do. A lot of people do. I don't have to do that. You wouldn't do that? You wouldn't do this and that? No, I would not. Why not? Because worst case scenario, my life is over with. And I'm not here to just, go out for a thrill, a cheap thrill. See, I got a thrill right now because I'm doing what I desire to do. That's my thrill. See, I'm organic. My thrill, my high is organic. It comes from within. And I control it. I can feel good anytime I choose a desire to feel good because I control my life. It's mine. And I like that I have that. We all have that. But I like that I have it. And I'm conscious that I have it. I'm conscious of that. So it's very beautiful. Very beautiful. I'm so glad that I understand so much. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I realized you can't help everybody. You're not going to help everybody. Many people that you attempt to help will fight you in a state of ignorance. They would defend the thing that's about to take them out. They would defend the smoking. They would defend the alcohol. They would defend the meat consumption, the dairy consumption. They would defend it. They'll defend it. Getting the hair done, chemicals all on the hair on top of the head, put under a radiation blaster known as a, what do they use at the beauty salons, that the women sit up under. Well, not just the women, but the men too, because back in the day, when I was sporting the Jerry curl, they put us under the hair dryer. That's what I meant to say, the hair dryer that emits all that radiation. And I used to be under that bad boy for about a good hour, 2 hours, getting the so-called Jerry curl. Destroying yourself to look a certain way, to feel a certain way about yourself. So you putting all these caustic chemicals on your head. Then you're going to exacerbate things by sitting up under a blow dryer or a hair dryer for hours. And women, and this is not to, make this video slanted towards women, but the things that women do, allowing themselves to be up under a hair dryer for 3 hours and 4 hours, it's crazy to me. But these are the things that we do in the Matrix under free will, and there are consequences. There are consequences, but to each his own. I sit back here now, it's like, man, that was so crazy to be under the hair dryer, for an hour or two. First of all, the chemicals burning my scalp, and then I'm under the blow dryer, the hair dryer, for an hour or two. And I did it every 3 to 4 months. Every 3 to 4 months. It's really wild. You're not going to help everybody. Everybody don't want help. Some people want to be a victim. They program themselves. And they play the victim well. By choice, through choice. And they become comfortable with being a victim. They'll complain, but just because they complain doesn't mean that they don't want the state they're in or the condition they're in. Doesn't mean that they don't want it because they're complaining. Well, she doesn't want it because she's complaining about the pain. She's complaining about this. She's complaining about that. Yeah. But look at her actions. She's not doing contrary actions that will stop the pain, that will stop everything else that she's complaining about or that he's complaining about. They're not stopping the action. So just because you complain about something doesn't mean that you want it to stop. Your actions dictate that. Actions, not talk. Talk is cheap. Actions speak. You're not going to save everybody, man. So you need to get over that. All these people coming to me crying and my father won't listen, my mother won't listen, my brother won't listen, my wife won't listen, my husband won't listen, my son won't listen, my daughter won't listen. Nothing you can do but bring the information. Share the knowledge. That's all you can do. Now it's really great that when you bring the information and knowledge, people are receptive to it. That's beautiful when that happens, and it does happen. And I'm not telling you to give up on people. I'm just telling you to be wise. Just be wise. And you got to understand that you're not going to reach everybody. You're just not. You're just not. Everybody does not want to be reached. And that's painful when you love people that don't want to be reached or that are not open or receptive. That's very painful because you want the best for people, man. But people don't always want what's best for them. And if you don't understand that, you would do serious harm, damage to yourself because of the negative emotion. The negative emotion. Feeling bad. Full of grief. Sorrow. And I've seen it in a lot of people. Crying because the daddy got cancer and just won't do anything that will help reverse the condition. And you got people crying. Their lives are on hold because of a loved one. That's why you got to be very careful with this whole love thing. It's not smart to love without wisdom. It's just not. It's just not. And you know, love absent logic, reason, wisdom can make you do some crazy things. Some insalubrious things. And this is mostly true of women more so than men, but men too. But I say that pertaining to the women because women by nature are really, they love bugs. They love creatures by nature. I'm working on something right now, you know, dealing with women and why women are so diseased. And a lot of it pertains to love. You know, they love, and they don't understand their environment. You know, love needs a certain environment. So you got people who talk love in an environment of hate, of wickedness, of evil. And you got to understand that it's not that love is powerful. It's conscious love. You know, it's love in its organic state, its conscious state. And I say that because there are a lot of people out here who are unconscious, but I can never deny that they love, that they have that feeling. So that's why I say conscious versus unconscious. But, you know, when that love is conscious, man, and you know, it's connected to reason, I mean, you really begin to enjoy that thing called love. No matter how ugly the world is, and no matter how many unloving people are in this world, and they do exist, and they're going to exist. And it's not just women, it's just people in general. A lot of the aspiring saviors and the religious people, you know, who's into the agapian type of love. These people get hurt all the time. They just don't understand certain things. You're supposed to love with wisdom. Aesop tells the fable of the lion in love, where there was a lion who was in love with an axeman's daughter. And the lion comes up to the axeman. He's a woodman or axeman. And he asked the man for his daughter's hand in marriage. Now, the man was wise. He knew that if he pissed the lion off, the lion would have mauled him. So the man couldn't protect himself or his daughter from the lion in the lion's natural state because the lion had sharp teeth and he had claws. But see, the lion was blinded in love. Blinded by beauty, but also blinded by love. I would go as far as to call it unconscious love. So the woodman or the axeman told the lion, I don't mind giving you my daughter, but with your sharp teeth, you would hurt her, you would injure her. But because the lion was so in love, the lion went and cut his sharp teeth. And the lion comes back to the girl's father and says, I have cut my sharp teeth. Now I have your daughter's hand in marriage. And the father says, what about your claws? You would hurt her with your sharp claws. The lion says, no problem. Runs away and goes and cut off his sharp claws. Then he comes back to the man and says, okay, now can I have your daughter in marriage? And the man picks up a board or a piece of wood. He picks up an object and he chases the lion away. Here's a lion, king of the jungle, man-eater, mauler, helpless against a human man. Why? Because he removed his sharp teeth and he cut off his sharp claws. So the lion was powerless. And I think you can look at the situation whereby there's this big lion with no teeth and no claws. Would lions harm us if that was the case? with all lions? No. And you know, when you watching Discovery Channel, you watching lions and tigers, you know, hunt down their prey. It's like, man, sticking them sharp fangs into the necks of zebras and giraffe and other creatures. It's like, man. And you start thinking like, man, what if that sucker was after me? You be like, well, I'd be tore up. You see them sharp claws in the flesh and the fangs all in the neck. It's like, man, that wouldn't be pretty. But if a tiger or a lion didn't have any teeth, the sharp claws, you wouldn't trip. It'd just be this big animal, and it would just feel like this big loving cat. That's what it would feel like. No danger, no threat. Anyway, getting back to the Lion in Love, there's always a moral to Aesop fables. And the moral to the fable of the Lion in Love is, don't let love make a fool out of you. That lion was foolish in attempting to change its nature for a woman, cutting out sharp teeth and claws that made the lion what the lion was. But the lion let love blind him. And he did not end up with the woman because he was chased away by her father. Now the father didn't beat the lion or chase the lion away when the lion had sharp teeth and sharp claws. Didn't do that. The father used wisdom and got the lion to do something that would benefit the father. That's wisdom. See, you can't be here absent wisdom. And that's the problem with most people. And see, it's especially difficult for women because, you know, women are not logical to the degree men are. Women are more emotional. Women are more heart-centered. And that's a beautiful thing. But you got to understand the world you live in. So you have to love wisely, with discernment, with discretion. You have to. Because if not, you're going to come up short. So there's nothing wrong with love. I just hear so much talk about love and love and love. And it's like the name of certain songs. Where is the love? Or love is in need of love today. You know, and as I do a lot of thinking on certain subject matters, I say to myself, wow. I said, that's why there's so many damaged women in the world. Their nature is love, but they love unwisely, making a lot of choices predicated upon emotion, absent reason, the ability to think and understand and draw conclusions. And they get manipulated through love. It's like religious people. They get manipulated through religion, the love that they have for a particular faith and or Messiah, a messianic figure. They get manipulated and exploited through that which they love because they're not using logic. They're not using wisdom. I say it all the time. But in most cases, you can't talk to people. They just don't understand. All I can do is let people know why I am the way that I am. Regardless of my actions, regardless of my words. I have the love that I always desired because I learned that true love starts first with self. And you can't love in a linear fashion just from the heart. You have a brain for a reason, and that brain sits higher than the heart for a reason. You here on this ride called life on planet Earth, you got to use that brain. You got to use your emotions too. They work together. It's like the material and the spiritual. They work together, not against each other. The heart and the mind is supposed to work together. So I said, man. I said, I see why. So much hurt and pain. Because many people chose to love unwisely. So Djehuty, are you saying that there's something called wise love? Yes. Yes. There are people out there who love people that don't even love them. That's not wise. That's not wise. You can be manipulated, exploited, used, abused. It's not wise, man. It's an ugly scenario if you ask me. So people, especially you, light workers and black sheep and everything else along those lines, you're not going to reach everybody. You're not going to help everybody. You're not going to save everybody. So if you're smart, you would just let that go. And know that all you can do is bring a message. All you can do is just point to something. Like they say about the horse. You could bring a horse to water to drink. But it's up to the horse if he would drink or if she would drink. You can't force a horse to drink. All you can do is just lead them to the water or lead them to the well. That's it. Same thing with people. That's all you can do is lead them to a certain thing. You cannot force them once they get there. It's their choice. And you got to respect their free will. You got to respect their free will. In closing, people, I'm saying it again. You're not going to reach everybody. You're not going to help everybody. You're not going to save everybody. That's just how it is. It would be great if we could change that. But on another level, we'd be violating various laws. The laws of consequence. The laws of free will. We'd be violating so much. So we got to deal with life and accept life, generally speaking, as it is. See, the only life that we can change is ours. That's it. That's all we can do. And after that, all we can do is just lead by example. That's it. And you know where I'm sitting at today? That's enough. I'm cool with that. That makes sense to me. Life is more smooth. It's more peaceful when you can accept that. Hey, I did everything I could do. Book recommendations, told them about this clinic in Mexico or somewhere in Europe. Told the person about, various herbs, particular diets. I mean, I did my part. I did my part. The person didn't purchase any books. The person didn't change their diet. The person didn't take the herbs or take them the right way or consistently. The person didn't do this. The person didn't do that. The person didn't do. So what they got to do with me? Why should I feel bad for a person whom I have provided for and they didn't respond to it? Why should I let that adversely affect me and create disease in myself? Now, why should I do that? Doesn't make any sense, people. It doesn't make any sense. On behalf of thehealthstore.com, I'm Djehuty Ma'at Ra. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Peace and love.